The Jaguar is a pain. It's a pain. I have yet to find a device that plays it well. What device?
I think like when I think of that console, the only thing I think of that I would say is like really worth it is Tempest. But beyond that, is there anything else really like?
Well, there's like weird like Aliens versus Predator game.
Also because it had the controller that had like 15 keys on the
buttons. It's like the N-Gage. It's so many freaking buttons.
It's like how do you even map half this stuff?
It's horrible to emulate, and the only way to emulate it is to throw raw CPU power at it. All right, we are back at it again, everybody. Welcome back to the Retro Handhelds Podcast, your place for all the chit chatter about these crazy little gadgets we call retro handhelds. Welcome if you haven't been here before, and if you have, well, you know what you're getting into. This is a special offline episode today, here with my buddy Rob, the Retro Tech Dad,
Hi, everyone.
My co-host. Hello, sir. And back again. We haven't had this man on since season 1, episode 8, 2021. Welcome back, my good friend,
incredible.
Franco Catrin of the RetroX emulator.
Hey, thank you for having me again here.
Yes, it has been so long.
It's nice to meet you too, officially.
I think I have seen your videos, RetroTech Dad.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you have another channel?
No, just RetroTech Dad. Just RetroTech Dad. Yeah.
But your channel is RetroTech Dad?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. I've seen your videos. Now I remember you.
Hey, at least someone knows my videos are out.
Oh my God, that's good. Yeah, you gotta get some RetroTech Dad in your life. Rob makes just some of the most cinematic videos. I lean in on the voice. Rob leans in on the video. Well, Andy has the voice, so he's really the full package as far as YouTubing goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He's not even modest. It's good. Well, if you're unfamiliar with Franco today, let me just give you a very quick background here. He develops a product here called RetroX or RetroX. Actually, what is the official pronunciation?
There are no official. RetroX or RetroX.
RetroX or RetroX, whatever you want. Yeah, well,
yes.
This is a front end and a multi-emulator. So it's like RetroArch, and it's also like, your standard front end like Launchbox, or we need the other options for Android here. Android TV, as well as, your Android devices or phone. And this is my first love. Okay, like I get very excited about this application. Back when I was really into the GPD-XD at the beginning of the hobby around 2016 for me, there was basically, Launchbox for Windows. And then as far as I was concerned, the only front end that even mattered to me was this one, was RetroX. And because it is so easy to use, you don't have to configure RetroArch or any emulators. They're all built in, as well as you don't need to worry about cloud saves between your various Android devices or any kind of like sync thing or anything like that, because on Franco's servers down in Chile, right, is where you're at?
Yes, in Chile.
In Chile. Your servers down there host all of the save files for everybody's devices. Now, it does come with the cost. It's $12 a year. There's 5-day free trial. And it really pulled me in to try that out. And I got into it's the fastest way that got me into trying out my games, because there's also no box art to scrape, because the box art is all on the server as well. So it delivers it straight to the device in real time. There's nothing here to do. It just kind of works for all your systems. Caveat being, in modern day, Franco, I got to give you a hard time, because a lot of us now are playing PS2, Switch emulation, Vita emulation, GameCube, and that's why I haven't used it as much recently, only because it plays up to, PS1 and 64, Dreamcast, PSP is kind of where it caps out currently, right?
Yes.
And you're focused, and then you've gone down sort of the focus of emulating the older computer systems like your Atari 8-bit and Amiga, Commodore, and there's some new ones as well, I know. So it's really cool, though. And if you're into those older computer systems, this is the best, and in my mind, only way to emulate them, because they're such a pain. Like the Atari 800, it is such a pain to set up in RetroArch. I never can get it to work. Or the Atari 5200. And in here, it just works. Like you feed it your ROMs, and everything just works. And so RetroX has just been a tried and true front end and multi-emulator for me for many, many years. And I still use it, especially for my computer systems that I want to emulate. It's still the best at that. And there's more to come too. And now you're able to, since we last spoke, now you're able to choose your own emulators if you want to. So can you actually emulate PS2 and GameCube if you load in your own, or it's still going to be, the system isn't built yet for those?
No,
okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, cool. And, obviously I have it here in my Retroid Pocket Flip 2, but this app really is optimized super well for the NVIDIA Shield, especially in your Android TV boxes. That was my favorite use case for it. And actually, Franco spent some time to make it a 4.3 Android option specifically for the Retroid Pocket 2 when it came out. We didn't have any front ends that were focused on that device besides like Dig. So just Franco and RetroX is a big part of the history of these handhelds, and I don't know how many people understand that these days. And you have a big following on Facebook, and I know I used to run the Discord group with you, but now there's all these front ends vying for attention and space, and so I just wanted to have you back on the show and really show some love to an amazing application. So just wanted to call that out. GPDXD as well. But that's not all. So you're also working on this new project here. I'll pull up the screen share real quick, called the CLC-92 Compu, which is, from what I understand, a Pico 8 sort of virtual console.
Yes, it's a very similar concept. The idea is to have a platform where you can create games, but with a very few people, maybe 3 people creating a game in a very short time. But this one is more powerful than the Pico 8. But the concept is it's the same, to have a platform where you can create games without all the things that you need today to create games. You don't need to understand big frameworks or pay licenses and things like that. The idea is to get back to the room color, not the bedroom color.
Yeah,
right.
That's the idea.
Yeah, and this is really cool. And it's not only a game development platform; it's also a physical computer.
It will be.
It will be. Is it an Android TV or is it a classic x86?
No, it's there are several alternatives to run the platform. You can emulate it on Android, or Linux or Mac. But the idea is that you can have a real console in the future, FPGA based. So you can run the games directly in real hardware, or at least more real than an emulator. Yeah,
it's hardware emulation versus software emulation.
Yes, I say hardware reimplementation.
Yeah, because I mean it is as perfect as you can get, basically, as long as the code is right. Yes. I'm a little bit new to FPGA. I've used Analog Pocket, and I have a Mister. I'm just now getting into.
Nice.
And so this is that sort of idea.
Yes, but the difference is that this hardware is new. It's my own design, so there are no emulation because you don't have to emulate something new. You just create the device, the new device.
And you're programming into it the 6800 CPU, Motorola CPU, which is one of the best known CPUs from the 80s until even now. I know on airplanes, they still use that chip, which is crazy. It controls like all airplanes. So it's powerful, and it was in the Genesis.
Yes, it's very powerful and developer friendly, because if you know how to code in the older 8-bit systems, it's not very hard to understand this new system. It's not like for example, the 86 platform, the Intel platform, that have a huge instruction set that's very complex. No, the Motorola 6800 is very easy to program.
That is badass. And you got filters on there too? I know you love your CRT shaders and filters.
Yes, but this is the audio chip. The audio chip, it's a new design because I don't want to emulate older sound chips. I wanted to have a new one that has features from several audio chips of the 80s. For example, it has ideas from the SID chip, the one that the Commodore 64 has, the Poki chip from the Atari, another chip, the PSG, and of course the ones from Yamaha, the OPL chips. So it's a mixture of several chips.
That's a really cool introduction to what you're up to these days. That's your second project, RetroX being your first. Let's take a quick look at what that is. So, and this is still the same website in general that I have seen all these years, right? And you...
Yes, it's a bit dated.
Well, no, but it serves its purpose, right? And you just released an update just a few days ago, bringing these to 64-bit devices, right? Being a focus. So you can start getting a little crazier with the emulation. And I saw you were updating PSP, so you're adding a new PSP emulator because some of the emulators are from a little earlier on, right?
Yes, the main problem is that Android changes and the environment changes. So you have to make changes on the app to keep working on new Android devices. I think that's the very hard part of doing an application like this for Android. First, you have many different devices, many different screen sizes. As you said, I have to tweak it to make it work in small screens because the user interface won't fit on that small screen. So I made one special for small screens. And you have to keep it updating. Not for the sake of updating, but because the environment has a lot of changes.
Right, because they recently got rid of 32-bit support as well.
Yes, for example, the new devices don't have 32 support, only 64.
Correct. Yep.
So I had to recompile and modify some emulators to work on 64-bit.
But it's nice that you are updating and supporting it, because I know a lot of developers just will abandon the project, which is an issue. It's a bummer.
Yes, that's why I choose to move to a subscription model. Mm-hmm. Because if you have one-time payments, you can't do updates with time. So I've seen many front ends that have died because of that, because the developers don't have the stream of resources to work on the emulator on the front end. So that's why I choose the subscription model, because there is support in the long term to make these updates.
Yeah, and I think that's very valid. I mean, I think, someone's paying for a subscription and they are getting something in return for that. So it's worthwhile.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. And I know that was when I was sort of running support in your Discord. The main thing that came up for people, the main complaint is just like, why the subscription? Why would we have to pay for an emulator more than one time? And it goes back to the cost of your hosting these servers.
Yes.
To keep those running every month, to pay that bill, the power bill, the hosting fees, to have that going so everyone's cloud saves are backed up. And now you're talking about, in a future update, you were telling me offline that you're going to be hosting people's ROM libraries on your servers. And
Yes.
are you going to have to bump up that subscription fee once that happens?
No.
Okay.
No, but
That's crazy.
Yes, my idea is to host the 8-bit systems first.
Yes.
They are very small, so I don't see a reason to add.
And they're smaller than the ROM, or sorry, they're smaller than the save files. Like PSP save files are huge.
And huge, yes. They're the worst.
Well, the thing is, like, when you install RetroX on a new device, the first thing it does, if you have an account prior, is it downloads all your save files so you have them at the ready on that device, which is great.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. So it's just automatically synced, except for when you get to your PSP library. If you've played a lot of PSP games, every one of those games is downloading. Now, it's very fast. And your server has had, over all the years, in my experience, you've had zero downtime, which has been cool. But I know you there's been some downtime, so I just never have experienced that. As far as like, but yeah, this was the main complaint for people, and I was always saying, like, it's because of the hosting fees. You do get that $13 a year for 1 year. You can do $23 for 2 years. And the thing about it is, if you do want to only pay once, it's $72.99, and then you get it for a lifetime subscription. And I always thought, well, are you going to still be programming this and maintaining it in 5 years? And here we are, almost 10 years later, and you're still you're still supporting it. So just. I got to call it out.
That's a pretty good track record, I'd say so.
Yeah. And I, as a longtime customer, supporter, and honestly, I think me and Stuart and Raptor UK were probably the original fanboys for this project. I feel like I couldn't stop talking about it before RH, before all that.
That's crazy. Wow.
So it's just cool to have you back on to talk about it, and I'm gushing again.
One of the reasons for keeping developing RetroX is because I made it for me first. Yes. I wanted to have something like this, so I'm the more fun user of RetroX. That's why I plan to work on RetroX maybe until my last day. I love it.
Lifetime. Yeah. I mean, if you're especially on an NVIDIA Shield or an Android TV platform, it is so scaled well to that. And now that you have a 4.3 option for some of these other Android devices, not this one, but I have 4.3 Android ones. It scales well for that. RP2, of course, and your phone. I use it a lot on my phone. Now, as I'm starting to get into the old retro computer emulation a little bit more, like Atari XE even. And one thing to note is you do need to, get all your games, and it's not compatible with every game on the platform. But if you have the ones that are supported, which are the majority, then it just works. So
in that case, those games have a built-in configuration that is included with RetroX. You can play any Atari XE game, but those games have a special configuration because some games require some keys from the keyboard. So what I did is to map the keys to the boot buttons in your gamepad. So the idea is that you can play Atari XE games like they are console games instead of computer games. So I try to make it the most plug and play possible.
Yeah, like here with Amiga, for instance.
That's the same case.
The same case where it's all the games can play, but a number of the games, many of the games have these custom configurations, so they just work flawlessly, because it drives me crazy trying to emulate these old computer games. Yes. So that's why...
That's the beauty of it, yeah. I mean, it just works.
I was always happy to pay that fee. I eventually paid that lifetime, and it was a little bit lower, I think, in the original, and then you grandfathered me in, which was very kind. as you needed to increase a little bit at the very beginning as you were trying the whole thing out. But what's great is like, look at this. So let's switch to my overhead camera. So like if we go here and we want to play Road Blasters, it's going to, all the emulators are pre-configured too. So you don't need to like learn RetroArch or any emulators. You just go there. It's going to download. I would guess it's downloading a RetroArch core and then configuring itself. UEA for all. And then you got to enable, and we're on like a new version of Android too. So I don't know how it's going to function here, but yep, there we go. It's happy. No scope storage issue there. And then you're going to get into the game. It tells you what the controls are.
Amazing.
And there you go. And then you're playing Amiga.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, it failed.
Oh no! See, I didn't pick.
Good job, Stubbs. Good example.
Well, I picked a game that's not on the approved list. These are the only two games that I wanted to play this week because I'm in this big Twisted Metal mood right now, and so these are some of the original car combat games.
It's so funny. I was watching an episode on YouTube of franchises that we haven't seen in a long time. Now, of course, Twisted Metal was one of those that made the list because it's been over a decade since we've seen a new Twisted Metal game.
I know. I'm really getting.
How is this possible, right,
dude? I'm getting into my car combat era again. That's what I'm doing. So it was a bad example for me to pull those two games. I just loaded them on right before the show. I should have checked your compatibility list, but
maybe the file format has some kind of problem.
Yeah, I'll need to go configure them a little bit. But back when I was playing these a lot more, I would just pick the ones already on your list, make sure I download those ROMs, and then they would just work. But here's a PS1 game, Crash Bandicoot, and the emulator is just built in there.
I hope
it's going to think.
Yeah, great.
And now we're happy. It detects the controller automatically. It maps the controller automatically. So yeah, all your 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit systems are going to be just a nice experience on here. Start select, still the same. Save state, load your cheats, quit the game. And there you go. Now you can load your own emulators in here, which is cool. And the one thing, and I'm just going to tell you my wish list right now, is I would love to see integration someday of retro achievements. Get that dopamine hit as you're playing.
That's a very requested feature.
Really? Okay,
many people
cool.
want that.
And all that is using their API, right, to display your stats, basically. Like, hey, how many achievements have you unlocked in this game? So that's kind of a quick overview of just the app for people who haven't seen it before. And I think that's our longest guest introduction in history on this show. 23 minutes. That's good. That's good.
It's
cool, man.
It deserves it though. It's a good project,
Yeah, it's
There's a lot
just
to talk about there.
It's fun, and you're still working on it now. So what's next on your roadmap?
You say one feature that it was a secret. But now it's not.
I can edit this if you want to.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
This is an exclusive news. Well, RetroX will allow you to store your ROMs on my server for the 8-bit systems and the 16-bit systems. Amiga, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Atari, and all of those.
All of those ones.
Yes. And I don't think the price will change because my hope is that they will fit in a small space.
Yes.
That's because those games don't change a lot. If you have a ROM from one game, maybe other users have the same ROM. So I stored the file once.
Only one time.
Yes.
I get it. So there's no duplication of efforts. Yes. But that's you're not saving just one save file, I would hope. You're doing individual for that.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
That's why the price, I don't think, will change. So
that's good.
That feature will be available for all users. Maybe in the future, I can extend that to bigger games, like CD-based games, like PS1, for example.
Yeah.
They will lose a lot more space, but that's in the very far future.
Well, if RetroX is supporting CHD files, I think that's the smallest file size.
They are smallest, yes.
And it's not
smallest.
It's not too crazy. Final Fantasy IX, you got 4 discs, so you got to contend with
or more.
2 gigs, or more. There's a few that might be more. I think X Files is another huge one. But well, for one thing, I can tell you this, man. I only store the first disc of multi-disc games on my handhelds because, let's be real, how often am I going to get to the second disc of any game that I'm playing? And if I do, I can go load it on there. So maybe you can get away with that a little bit in the beginning, I'm saying. Of course, then if somebody like, oh, why can't I get to disc 2 of Final Fantasy VII? Like, oh, I got to load up, maybe you can have some automatic ROM mover or something. I don't know.
Yes, the other feature that I want to have in the next month is support for the Amstra computer.
Amstra
CPC464.
You're exploring these.
Was that a like a community request, or is it just something that you wanted to implement?
No, myself. There are very new games that are great games for the Amstrad, games from the last years, and it also has a very good library of games. In that time, maybe the CX Spectrum was the most popular computer. But it has a lot of limitations in color and sound, and the companies ported those games to the Amstrad CPC, and they have a better sound chip, a better video chip, so you can play the same games from the Spectrum, but with better quality in the Amstrad.
Interesting.
Nice. That's cool. That's one I haven't messed with too much.
I was going to say, I've been learning a lot more about retro computers over the past few years because it's not something I grew up with. So just learning about the history of them and then the games that are available on them has just been kind of a fun experience for me. And a lot of ties into like the Amiga Mini that came out, and there was the Spectrum and all the stuff that came out, and it kind of revitalized that interest for me.
Yes, at that time we didn't know much about other computers because there was no internet. I had one computer, another EXE, and one friend has an MSX, and nobody else had something different. And they were very expensive. The MSX was out of reach for me, so I always wanted to play those games. The MSX.
Well, and the MSX has the best version of Metal Gear 1.
Yes, there's actually an MSX Mini, I believe now, or something like that just came out pretty recently. And so there's just again a lot of interest in bringing back those libraries of older computers, which is kind of neat.
That was the first version of Metal Gear. The Metal Gear was created for the MSX.
Yes.
The other one is Vampire Killer, which is another name for Castlevania.
Yes.
That one started at the same time in the NES and the MSX.
And it's got to be better on the MSX again.
Yes, the music overall. The music sounds great on the MSX.
Well, it's also interesting. It's very regional too, because that was very popular in Japan. But then, like in the United States, you had the Apple computers that were very big, and IBM. And then, in Europe had its own, the Spectrum and things like that. So it's interesting to see how regional the computers were as well. I mean, no one knew what everyone else was using because, like you said, there was no internet. So this is what I had.
And it's crazy too, because in Japan, where the MSX started, right, and that was the main region, it was a Microsoft computer.
Yes.
And Microsoft, it's crazy to me that Microsoft did not have a US variant. And maybe they did, and I just never heard about it. But I think it was mainly Europe and Japan.
They didn't.
Okay, yeah.
What I know is that they have a company in Japan, and they wanted to create the computer and invited Microsoft.
Yes.
To be some kind of partner, but I don't think it was an idea from Microsoft. So that's why it's from Japan only and not USA.
Interesting. Yeah. That's crazy. Like getting into the Amstrad, the CPC, getting into MSX, ZX Spectrum, and there's an endless amount of these. If you go and look at like the no intro ROM set, there are so many computer listings there.
X68000 is another one I think of.
Yeah.
Yes. Like that. That's I guess that's a Japan only one as well. I mean, it's the same idea. Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's a great computer.
Yep.
Like the Amiga, but maybe more powerful at that time.
Yeah.
It was a late computer. The Amiga is from the 1984, I think. And yes, it was 10 years ahead of the competition, but later appeared the X6800.
Yeah, and the Amiga too was just awesome for any music related stuff. Like the music is so good. And you're a musician, you know, you and I talked endlessly about guitars. And I got to show you. I know we talked about a bit before the show, but I'm loving this thing. This is the Positive Grid Spark 2 amp, and it just like has this built-in jam session thing with your phone where you just it just has like a backing band for you and you just start ripping on it. It's so fun. Nice. You had what was your amp that you were showing me earlier?
The Black Star?
Black Star, yeah. That's cool.
Yes, this one.
The little mini.
Yes, very mini.
I like the little practice amps.
And sounds great for practice. Yes, I used this one on my room, on my bedroom.
Ooh!
So it's very portable. I have this one also with some parties with friends.
Yeah,
they say bring your guitar. Okay, then I bring my amp.
You walk in with the little amp. I remember in my band days, you know, I'd walk in with like the biggest amp I could possibly find because when I brought in the practice amps, my bandmates would be like, "What are you doing, dude? You know, go get yourself a Ampeg 8x10 cab for your bass." It's I bring in this like 8 foot tall, you know, bass cab. I'm going from gig to gig, and it's so ridiculous. You don't need that. You don't need it. You're just running into the soundboard anyways.
Yes. In the past, I had a Marshall VS 100. And it was a 100 watts amplifier. You can pick it by hand, but it was very heavy. So you had to take a rest before you can play because your hands were shaking.
They're shaking.
Yes.
And Rob, I know that you're one of the best guitarists of any of us. But I know you're too humble
in my
to talk
mind
about it.
Yeah, sure. Maybe a guitar hero.
Guitar Hero was fun too. I don't even care. That's classic.
Well, in any ways, I don't use the Black Star very often. I have a box one. It's a box with amplifier emulation support. It's very great amplifier.
Like the AC 1200 or 600.
No, it's the box Valvetronic.
Oh, with those tubes, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The tube amps are so nice and warm. You're an all analog guy, huh? Like you're rocking. Yes. You're really trying to do FPGA, the old style computers. You're doing your shaders and your filters for CRT. Yeah, that's cool. And, you know, so many developers on Android are focused in on emulating the latest modern gen systems. And they're trying like, okay, now let's do PS3, let's do Switch, let's do PS4. It's getting nuts out there. And you're probably one of the only developers, at least that I know, that has really stayed narrowly, you know, focused on we need to build out the community and the emulation support for these older computer systems and these older systems that aren't getting any love. And so if you're out there and you have a affinity for these systems, I once again will shill for RetroX and say, check this program out. It makes them so easy. And if you run into a situation like today where I didn't pick one of the supported games for the custom configs, it's not too much effort, if I recall, to get it working. You just need to poke around a little bit.
you need the right file format. Maybe the file format is
It's an I think IPF is what I went with. Yeah.
ADF.
Oh, and you do ADF. See there?
Yes.
See, I already screwed up. Yeah, ADF.
Also, you have the Facebook users group where you can put your questions. And myself, I always look in there to answer questions. So if you need help, you have me there.
Yeah, and you've always been helpful. Are you still doing the forum as well, or just consolidated to just the Facebook group?
Just the Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the easiest spot. And there's a big loving community there. It's very, very welcoming, very supportive, which is a rarity on Facebook, I have to say. The RH Facebook group, the RH Facebook group actually is pretty cool too.
Very different vibe there than
very
on the Discord.
And if anyone out there doesn't know, we do have a Facebook group for this.
Yeah, it's 20,000 strong.
Yeah,
20,000 plus strong, actually. Yeah,
it's a whole different community, but it's all part of the love and the retro. So
yes, and I have some friends there. I don't know them in person, but I have some friends that have helped me to reach this point in RetroX, and they are there, and they appear from time to time. Nigel Rappi, Rapster UK, for example.
Rapster UK.
Yes.
Great guy.
Stuart Law,
yeah.
John Logie. He is a very supportive man.
These are the OG people in the community, and they also make the skins, right? They make the different because there's theming. Rapster does the theming. Yeah.
Rapster, yes.
And the theming was fun.
Yes, RetroX have different user interfaces. That's very important because not all devices are the same. If you are using RetroX in a mobile phone, it's very different than using it in the TV.
Yeah, because you got your touch interface version, and you can switch over to this TV interface, which is going to use buttons.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, poke around, play around with it. It is a cost for people, but you do have that like 5 or 6 days. Yeah, 6 days free to mess around, try it out. And I gotta say, I'm sorry, I'll let you talk, but I gotta shill one more thing because the coolest thing, it has single sign-on. If you're already signed in your Android phone under your Google account, it just uses that to check your license, and you don't have to like enter in passwords or anything. It's just single sign-on. You're just in and going and emulating away.
I love apps that do that. It's so much more convenient.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, Franco?
About the price. The price, maybe I don't know how much is $12 in your country. Here it's not so little. I don't know in your case, but if you see the price in monthly, the price is just $1 a month.
Yeah, it's $1 a month. $12 a year. You're not sending in money to save a puppy for Sarah McLachlan or anything, but you are getting the latest, versions, and it all just kind of works and all that. And $12, yeah, it's not much. I think in the US, that's 2 trips, maybe 1 trip to Starbucks. Yeah. So that's cool. So if everyone out there is not familiar with this, I'll say again, check that out. There's other front ends too. You can also do what a lot of us do when we get deep in the hobby is we start learning how to configure RetroArch. We configure these emulators ourselves. There's guides for that. And then we'll pair it with other front ends sometimes like Daigisho and Reset Collection. And you can still configure those emulators and then point them at RetroX, because RetroX can still host your box art, your save files, as long as you're going up to that 64-bit era. Dreamcast, I guess, 128-bit.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm sure. I've used this program a few times. All right, man, that's cool. So we got a couple other questions for you here. Let me just pull up a few. Rob, do you have any you brought in today?
Yeah, I also got a dog on my lap right now.
Oh, which one is that? Which one is that?
I got Batman here with me.
You had a dog named Batman. That's incredible.
I know. Tell me about it.
Can we see it?
Oh, he's a big boy.
He's a big guy.
I can't pick him up like that.
That's fair. I know you went over this in your first episode, and everybody, I know many of you probably have not heard season 1 of this show. I recommend a listen. It's a little different vibe, but we really go into your background story. And, I know you have a wife, you have kids, you're living down there in Chile, and you're doing your thing. And God, what did we leave off last time? We talked about your future development features, which since, years later now, we've done all those things in your roadmap.
Yes, at that time was the support for external emulators.
Yes, that was big. I kept begging. I was like, please give me external emulators. I want to keep using this, but some of these emulators aren't working with my handheld the correct way.
I was going to say that it seems like I was rewatching that early episode that you were on, and you actually accomplished most of the things that you wanted to do, or you're talking about what you want to do in the future. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are all implemented, which is really cool to see. So I guess what would be the future? What's your roadmap for a couple of years out now? What do you have in mind?
Yeah.
Well, the cloud support for storing the ROMs, the Amstra, the Amstra computer. Yes. Yeah. I want to simplify some things. At the beginning, it was even easier to install and run RetroX because Android was different. Today it's a bit more complex, and I want to revisit that part to make it easier to get started with RetroX.
Yeah, because if you're getting into the computer side, you do need to get into your documentation on your website a little bit just to check. For instance, today, what file types are supported. That's a quick and easy answer. And something, I used to do. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get into this style of emulation, Amstrad or whatever. Go to the website, check the file types, check the supported games. And then I'm really tailoring my device for a RetroX device around what it does best. And then every game works perfectly, and it's a lot of fun. Now, I know your main focus is the TV mode, but have you, since the Retroid Pocket 2, have you picked up any other handhelds? Like, have you messed around with any of the later ones?
No, just one, the Retroid Pocket 2.
Are you still on that? That's incredible.
I have it around.
Yeah, it's in the ether. It's around. That's I still have one too, but I can't say that I use it very often because just like your app and it's iterating. These devices, since we've spoken last, have been iterating. Like this clamshell, this new one, Snapdragon 865 in here, basically, flagship phone processor from a few years ago, and it'll emulate up to PlayStation 3 and Switch on here, which is crazy.
Crazy, yes.
2 terabyte micro SD card in there. Everything you could ever want. I just took it camping. I survived camping, I'm happy to say. And yeah, man, this kind of does everything I want. And I don't know if you've seen this, but there's also the Steam Deck. You probably heard of that.
I have one.
You have a Steam Deck. Oh, so you do.
Yes.
You have a Retroid Pocket 2 and a Steam Deck. But I guess I asked about Android.
I wanted to use it for testing in the future. I wanted to create a RetroX version for computers. So I wanted to have RetroX running on the Steam Deck, but it will be for the future, not now. So crazy. I have one. I have switched it on maybe twice, and
that's it.
They're looking at me.
Which one do you have? Do you have it? We want to see the first one. Is it not the OLED? It's the original LCD.
No, the original.
The 64 gig.
The one in the middle. I don't remember.
Okay. I think it was 256. Maybe?
Maybe 256.
I think
256.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because then you're moving on to the SSD, and I think the original 64 gig had a slower storage.
Yes, it was not only the storage size; it had something different. So that's why I went for the second one.
Yeah, it was worth it, I think. And a lot of people would buy that 64 gig and then do modifications on it to get it a little beefier. We did that on this show, actually, back in the day. That's crazy, man. So you're over there rocking your phone, a Retroid Pocket 2, and your Steam Deck as your 3 mobile devices.
Yes.
That's perfect. Really?
Yes.
You want something for retro, something to play pretty much everything, and then your phone, your day-to-day carry.
The only thing missing is time.
Yes. I know. Tell me about it, dude. I just turned 40 this year, and I feel like my time is getting less as my parental responsibilities are increasing. I got kids on the verge of teenaging, and Rob, I know you already do, and you do, Franco. And it's just our time is so limited.
Yes. We just cannot do everything that we want to do in
Why? Can we just pause time and we can go play in a wonderland of dreams and pixels?
What happened to me is that when I'm doing one thing, I'm thinking that I'm not doing the other things that I want to do.
That drives me crazy too.
Oh, I have the same problem. Yeah.
I think for me, and I just thought this was like an ADD thing, but it's like I'm trying to enjoy something, playing a game on here, and it's like I could be doing this with this time. I could be working on RH content. I could be working on a video. I should be working on a video. Why am I not filming myself playing right now? What a waste of time. And it's like there's got to be built-in time for leisure, to explore, to wonder, to imagine. It's so important.
In the past, I had problems with using RetroX because when I wanted to play some games, I found some bugs. So
you see the stakes and you start.
I wanted to fix them. So
I know. You stop what you're doing and you're like, all right, let's load up the code base. Let's just go work on this. Stop it, Franco. No, what you need to do is don't use your own front end. Just load up. On an emulator.
That's a very good idea. Yes, I was using a PS2 with a memory card.
Some
time ago.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I know.
Yeah, that side loading memory.
Free McBoot.
Free McBoot.
Yes.
Yes. That's great.
That's fun.
Oh yeah.
We've just been
especially if you get the fat model and you load up a hard drive in there, you just have all your games on hand. That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I also have I have the Slim. Yes.
Okay.
I also have a PC Engine.
Ooh,
that's right.
And that's I use it a lot because it's very easy to start playing a game. The games are very simple and fun. So that's a good time for me to just play.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the
It's just it's just you and the console. And that's it. There's no DLC to download. There's no first day patches. There's no subscription fee.
Yes.
And up here, up north, I know we call that the TurboGrafx 16, but I'm also used to calling it, PCE, because traditionally in emulators, you're seeing PCE.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what it was known as in Japan as well. It was the PC Engine, yeah.
The PC Engine. I had a friend, Greg, his name was, and he had a TurboGrafx 16 growing up. He was the only friend who had one.
That's so funny. I had a friend also. He was the only one with it too.
The only one whose parents, his parents were both lawyers, so they had a little bit of money. So because they had an NES, a TurboGrafx 16. This was 1990, I think.
Yep.
And they had all of the consoles. And I remember those little cards you would put in. I would play Pac-Man, the Pac-Man adventure game, and Space Harrier.
The Hue cards blew me away when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was just like blown away. I'm holding this and I'm like looking at my Super Nintendo cartridge and I'm like, what's going on here, Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I was always like, I always wanted one of my own, back when I was younger. It was just kind of cool.
Well, some people say that the people in Japan they like small things.
Yes,
but the people in USA like big things.
Big things.
So,
well, that's why they repackaged the PC Engine for the US, and it became this big black box.
Right,
with a small PC board,
with a little board, which is crazy. I know. Yeah. And same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo
did the same thing. Yes.
Originally fit in this little form factor in Japan when it was the Famicom, and then in Nintendo USA they're like, well, Americans aren't going to want this, give us a big gray box.
They did that with the cartridges too,
and the cartridges need to be bigger, but we don't need that. It's just extra space for no reason. Why come on. It's crazy. I love that we're able to talk about some of these older stories. It's so
funny though, because they're trying to market to a different audience, and they're well, no, America wants bigger, better, like that's how they had to market it. It's kind of funny.
And the PS3, when we first had that, same thing. It was huge, the huge first PS3.
You have to think that in the past, the companies released the consoles in Japan first, and then in USA, several months after the original launch.
Saturn, yeah.
Oh, the Saturn.
Saturn was so popular in Japan.
Yes.
So popular. And over here it died
it was just mishandled. That's the biggest problem with it. Yeah. The Sega of America and Sega of Japan, it was a mess between the two.
And I think that also it was the wrong time for that hardware, because the games were transforming from 2D games to 3D games.
Right.
And at that time, everything wanted to be 3D. And if you look at that system today, if you look at the Saturn, the 2D games on the Saturn are
so
great.
good.
Oh, incredible.
So yes.
They're beautiful. Yes. And then the 3D, it struggles with a little bit, where the PlayStation won that war, because the PlayStation could not only handle the 3D better, but it would just got more love and attention, because Sega, was moving on. A lot of their core personnel had moved on to other projects, and their last thing was Dreamcast, and they're like, screw it, we're a software company now.
Yes.
Well, I think the Saturn was originally designed to be like this 2D powerhouse console, and they had to add 3D after the fact, and so they quickly kind of band-aided all this together. And
it was a separate chip, right? Wasn't it? It had a second chip to do the 3D.
It was pretty complicated to develop for.
Yes. That was one of the problems.
Yeah.
Today is like programming to a PC, in a PC.
Yeah.
But at that time, you have to do your code specifically for that device.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the PC Engine. Maybe some people don't know that console, the TurboGrafx and PC Engine.
Yeah.
I think that console has some of the best ports of arcade games to the console. They have a great version of Outrun, a great version of Vigilante.
That's interesting.
An incredibly great version of R-Type.
Yeah, and the color palette was really nice.
Oh, yes.
On the TurboGrafx compared to the Genesis, compared to SNES, especially. Like, it just looked beautiful. Sega Master System 2 had a nice bright color palette. I like those nice, bright, colorful pop-in colors. I really do.
It's more like a synthetic palette.
Is that what it is?
Yes. The PC Engine has a more organic panel, I think.
Okay. It has more colors to pick from, and they're emphasizing. But I remember like Pac-Man Adventure. What was that game called? Pac-Man World? What was the one where you're... Pac-Land.
Yeah, Pac-Man World was PlayStation.
And
newer. Yeah.
Pac-Land was so vivid, and the colors are so bold and pronounced that it was like, at the time I was like 6 years old, but the Pac-Man was jumping out of the screen to me, and he's walking along, and I'm like, I'm so used to seeing him eating, dots on a grid, that it was just... The TurboGrafx 16 was something I didn't know how to get one. I didn't know where you could buy one.
My favorite game on that, back when I had that friend, the Bonk's Adventure. I was just
Bonk's another one.
Bonk's is great.
Yes.
I mean, and then of course, years later, I learned that it wasn't even called that in Japan. It was something completely different. I'm like,
yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that's a great game.
Yeah, you couldn't go into Fred Meyer or Kroger or EB Games and just buy a TurboGrafx, right? Or could you?
I think you could.
You could?
It's just
they were like back in the back shelf.
It just didn't have that kind of market share here in the US, really. It never really did.
I mean, I would go in. I guess I was just sucked into the Game Boy marketing booth and Nintendo stuff.
I miss those days. Like when you walked into the store and I'd look up on the top shelf and it was like, what's that? It's Atari Lynx. What is this thing? Like,
dude, and I never looked on the top shelf. I'm just like, Aladdin.
The top shelf had always the weirdest stuff. Like they had like all this stuff tucked away that no one knew what it was, and like that's Virtual Boy, Atari Lynx,
right.
Like all this random stuff.
Yeah, if it didn't have a display unit in store, I think I just didn't know about it. I didn't get into Atari Lynx until I emulated it, 5 years ago.
Yeah, same. I mean, not 5 years ago, but it was definitely a
later in life
kind of thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was part of like exploring RetroX actually is what got me into exploring some of these older systems, because they were thrown in my face at that time. It's like, okay, what else can I do with RetroX beyond PS1? You know, oh, what's this system? And I started getting those ROMs just to try them out. And that's the first time I ever used Commodore 64, ever used Amiga, first time I ever used Atari Lynx, Jaguar, all because I was exploring those games through this interface. And now these are systems I emulate on all my devices that I'm into now. But no nostalgia for them. It's just like, oh,
it's
cool.
some kind of discovery, because many games they fell under the radar because most people now focus on the Nintendo ones, for example, the Nintendo universe. But there is a big world apart from those games. There are many great games, many weird games also from Japan. You can see in the PC Engine, there are very strange games, but amazing to play.
Well, that's how it is with the Sega Saturn. You know, like for me, I love the Saturn.
Yes.
But people say, oh, the Saturn had no games. But the thing is, you need to go beyond what was, you know, localized or translated in Japan. They had a huge library of games. I mean, there was tons of good stuff in Japan. So that's kind of the same idea, where maybe here in the United States, Saturn was kind of forgotten, but there's a lot of gems on that platform. I mean, it's an amazing console.
Speaking of games, guys, what game, Rob, are you playing right now?
I'm addicted to Victory Heat Rally, and I've been playing What the Car, which is the sequel to What the Golf, which is hilarious. It's a really fun game, yeah.
For me, I gotta say, man, I have been beyond like our game of the month for RH, which I was playing a bunch of Tony Hawk in the last month.
Yeah, I beat that early in the month, so
much fun. But since then, I've gone down, like I was saying earlier, the car combat rabbit hole. I've been watching documentaries on Twisted Metal, Vigilante 8, the history. I love that genre so much. I don't know what happened to it. It's gone away. And I just love from the 8-bit car combat all the way up to PS3. You know, I think that's a great genre. There's a couple for PS4 and Switch, but it's like gas guzzlers.
It's a genre that just died. Car combat kind of just disappeared. Yeah, like, wow.
But the one I'm playing right now, and it's one I loved as a kid after Twisted Metal 2, because 3 and 4 were beyond Rob Zombie's soundtrack. I mean, I don't know. Rogue Trip 2012. It was a single track game made by the team from Twisted Metal. They took that engine from 2 and made it into this exploration thing where you're picking up tourists around. So it's kind of like a mixture of Crazy Taxi meets Twisted Metal. You're picking up people, you're blowing up cars, you're taking them sightseeing and getting points, and you can take that cash to get your health upgrades or missile upgrades, and you're going to the next level. Actually, of course, every once an episode I got to do this, but
he's got to go get his games.
Where is it?
Of course. Yeah. He's building himself a nice little physical library of games now.
It's a very convenient way to remember what games you have.
Dang it.
Yes.
I don't know how this happened, but I don't own that game currently. I don't know how that happened. I thought I had it.
I like how you're going to reach for it.
I know. I had it. I thought I had it. I'm like, I only have my favorites, and this is one of my favorites. It's one I'm playing again, but how embarrassing for me. Well, yeah, Franco, what about you, man? What are you playing right now? When you have time.
No, I'm not playing games these days.
I was going to say that isn't that also an issue that you had a few years ago when you were on the show? You were saying how you wanted time for more games,
right?
The last one was Rogue Fighter on the MSX.
MSX Rogue Fighter.
Road Fighter. It's a racing game. Road Fighter.
Road Fighter. Oh, car combat?
No, it's a very simple racing game. Road Fighter.
Let's see. Let me pull this up here for everybody.
Uh-huh. Yes, similar.
Is
to
this
that
it?
one. Yes, but that's the NES.
The
version.
NES.
Yeah.
Oh,
but the idea is the same. I was playing that game because when I was a child, I never passed the first stage. So I wanted to see what was beyond the first stage. And RetroX has a feature that many people don't know, that that feature is that you can, with a press of a button, you can rewind the game.
Oh,
really?
Yes. So you are playing the game and you're killed. You can press the button and go back.
Doesn't that take a decent performance hit though to use that feature?
For all consoles, no. For example, for MSX, that's the MSX.
This is the MSX
one.
version.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one.
Is this MSX 1 or 2?
Interesting, because a lot of
That's
racing
one.
games would incorporate that ability later on. You know, you would see that in a lot more modern racing games. That's kinda cool.
Yes.
You would.
Interesting.
They did it on the emulation and in RetroArch. RetroArch supports that. But in RetroArch, it has some problems, technical problems, that if you turn it on, some systems got very slow. In RetroX, what I did is that if you turn it on, it is turned on only on those systems that don't get that slowness.
Interesting.
I know. So 8-bit, 16-bit does it okay, but I think PlayStation takes a pretty big hit.
Yes.
No? Okay, it does.
No, yes, you're right. It takes a very big hit, so I disable it for that one.
For that one, yeah, that makes sense, man.
Because you can use it, so why having it enabled?
But it is helpful when you're trying to get through some of these tougher games to have that feature. Because I'm the same as you. For me, it was like Ghosts and Goblins. I could never beat that game as a kid.
Oh, Ghosts and Goblins.
Never could beat that game. So my wife and I, for I think 5 years now, have been, when we have free time, getting a little bit better at Ghosts and Goblins. A little bit better over time. Still haven't beaten it, but I've gotten, I think, to the last area, and I lost my save file. Actually, I think it's in RetroX. I think it's in your server. I can download it.
Just quickly delete it.
And it downloaded all my save files from like back in the day. Everything.
That's cool.
I got to pull that up. Yeah, so there's that one for me and Captain Skyhawk. But I got to say, man, Captain Skyhawk, I did beat this year. So, did you beat this one now?
Yes.
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 Virtual high five.
As you...
we got to do. What do we got?
Oh, not this thing again.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, you got to
other way. We got to go towards the opposite way for you. Other side of the screen. Wait, now swivel your chair. Swivel your chair 180. Swivel your chair 180.
There?
Yes, right there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we did it. Yes, Rob, I'm going to do a little finger boop. Right there. Yeah, I'm sure for your screen when you're on your side, it's showing opposite, but yeah, I know.
Yes, I have the middle of the screen.
This is a good sign that it's time to wrap up our recording. But it's been fun, man, diving into the old games and the old times. I got to say, this is something we ask all of our guests, and I'm going to ask you too. I know you don't have a lot of handhelds, but I'm going to expand this. Devices. Think, F, Marry, Kill. Ever heard that game? We're talking about, in ours is called Adore, Keep, Delete. So what one device in your game collection would you adore for one night and you have to give it back? What one device would you keep forever, maybe on a desert island? It's the only device you can have, and you keep it forever. And that one device would you delete? So it was so bad that you wish it never was. And it can be anything for you. It can be consoles or handhelds.
But what was the first category?
So adore. So one night only, a lifetime, and delete.
Okay. One night only, PS2.
Ooh, spicy. I like that.
One to take it for a lifetime, the PC Engine.
Yes. I knew you were going to say that.
Yes. And one that I don't like, the Jaguar.
The Jaguar is a pain. It's a pain. I have yet to find a device that plays it well. What device?
I think when I think of that console, the only thing I think of that I would say is like really worth it is Tempest. But beyond that, is there anything else really like?
Well, there's like weird like Aliens versus Predator game.
That's true. That was also wasn't Wolfenstein pretty good on there?
I think so. And then Doom. There's a Doom port.
Yeah, I think there's a Doom port as well. Yeah. So it's
Rayman.
Is it good?
Rayman.
Also because it had the controller that had like 15 keys
so
on
many
the
buttons. It's like the N gauge. It's so many freaking buttons.
It's like how do you even map half this stuff?
It's horrible to emulate, and the only way to emulate it is to throw raw CPU power at it. It's crazy.
And the games are horrible. The worst palette. I don't know.
I would say
horrible.
I think time and history kind of took care of the delete part, because honestly, I think outside of very few passionate people, Jaguar's kind of like
that was one I discovered through RetroX as well, because I could never play it and it drove me crazy. I'm like, this is the only system on this platform I can never get to work. Finally, I'm like, this last year or two, I've had devices now that can emulate Jaguar mostly properly, but it's still a stuttery mess sometimes. So it's crazy. What good choices. I like that. That's good.
I remember seeing it as a console in EB Games or GameStop, something like that, on closeout and clearance for like $20, and it was still just sitting
too much, still sitting there. Well, because you had to buy the games, and to this day I've never held a Jaguar controller. Okay,
I have. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's like Xbox Duke size, basically.
Now, the Duke was all right. The ergonomics on the Duke were okay, but I feel like the Jaguar probably
it's too much. It was too much. I remember the first time I ever held an Xbox controller, and it was playing Tony Hawk. That's what they had as the demo game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the smaller design made more sense. But I mean,
the S is much.
I got these big hands, man, so I'm okay with the bigger controllers. So maybe Jaguar is my hidden, treasure. Maybe I should.
I think you should go track one down now.
Go track it down, upscale it with HDMI, converter, 4K. The Shield does 4K upscaling. Yes. That'd be cool. But I don't think it runs on the Shield well, which is crazy.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah. See. Which is the gold standard of Android TV boxes. Come on. All right, guys. Well, this has been a good one. Franco, where can we, find you these days? On Facebook at the RetroX user group. I'll link that in the description. Uh-huh. And retrox.tv is where you can go and actually, I don't even think I showed that website. Let me pull it up one more time. So it's not in the Google Play Store, right? And with their limitations, you were like, no, I'm going to do my own APK. And I find it here. And then for your new project, is that something people can start working on now? The Compu?
Not yet.
Okay.
There is some documentation, but I'm still doing some design changes.
Oh, dang it. I didn't have that on screen, did I? Okay, so here's the RetroX website. Sorry. QR code there. That's really cool. And now, here's the CLC-92 Compu. CatrinLabs. So he said it's not quite ready yet, but stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay. Preparing for release soon. Ooh, Tiny Thor gameplay teaser.
I was watching that. That's pretty cool.
That's those videos are there to get an idea of what type of games you can do with CLC-92 Compu.
We used to have.
I also like
Thor.
that you were showing what some of the features too that you can do too, like the widescreen support. That was kind of neat.
Yes.
So check this out. I'm unclear. Are you going to be selling a hardware device people can buy?
Yes, that's one of the ideas. I'm not sure if I can do it, but
it can be a lot.
Great. I want to point to that goal.
Okay.
To have a physical device that you can buy.
Okay. But initially it's going to be sort of a DIY, do it yourself program for the platform, and you can run the platform on your own. Do you need an FPGA device to run this?
No, on your own computer.
On your own computer. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to explore this more. This is cool as I get acquainted with it. Well, cool. So that's the places people can find you. Do you have like Twitter? Do you need any other social media besides Facebook?
I I think maybe the Twitter one, CatrinLabs. It seems that on the same page, at the top of the page, you can see the links to the social.
Yeah, good call. Let's see here.
The right there.
Oh, Twitter. Oh, you have a Twitter. You have a YouTube channel. So what CLC code? You have a GitHub account, Facebook, Twitter. Thanks for hanging with us. And Rob, good luck with whatever you're doing. What are you doing after this?
What am I doing after this?
What are you doing this weekend?
I have a device I can't talk about that I've been working on for a video. That's going to be next week. I got next week's drop. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for that. I got that new Razer Kishi, the latest. I can't talk about that yet either. But I'll be doing that soon.
Oh, I didn't realize Razer's got something new. I won't say anything.
Yeah, they got a follow up to their last one, telescopic controller for your phone. Okay.
I actually really like the Ultra. That one's really nice. I mean, it was pricey, but it was a nice controller. It was really nice.
This one's coming, and the other one for me, man, is going to be the 1X Player G1. Borrowing that because I'm forwarding it to Russ, so he let me have a couple days with it and make a quick video. So that's been fun.
I'm really curious to hear your impressions of that.
Yeah, it's an intense device, Franco. This is one that is basically a laptop with game controls built in, and it's 10-inch.
Oh, great!
Small size,
big screen,
bigger screen. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So we'll be looking at that. Yeah,
nice.
And Franco, I hope what are you doing this weekend? You doing anything good? Having some.
No.
You coding?
It's okay. No. I know that.
Tomorrow will be a free day because, I got married again.
Oh, you got married again?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
congrats.
I got married again. So in the last month, we haven't stopped working or doing things, and we need a free day. Tomorrow will be our free day.
Okay.
I feel like I need a free day every day.
Yeah. I honor your free day. Please try to make more free days, but I understand, man, weddings and all that. No more. I'm going to stick.
He's going to hold on to the one.
I'm going to hold on.
The thing is, she's seen your handheld collection, so you better start selling Stubbs. It's
for life. She knows that she's known that I've been into this stuff since the beginning. All right, she knew what she was getting into. But you're right. Just like with the Wilson Phillips band, hold on. That's right. Taking you back to 93. Okay, I'm serious. We're getting out of here now, guys. I want to keep talking to you, but we really do have a weekend to get to. An audience, I'm sure. All right, everybody. Well, you know what? It's a good time to pick up some merch. You know what we got now?
Nice.
We got Zoo merch.
I saw that.
Yeah, our reviewer Zoo has his own hats and cups and mugs, so check that out.
Nice.
I'm gonna buy one.
Gotta buy it. Gotta get it as well. You know what? Check out those perks on our Discord and our Patreon if you're looking to have some extra RH benefits and support what we're doing here. We really appreciate that. Support Franco and RetroX. Check out his current projects. Really, seriously, give it a try. Explore some systems that you haven't emulated before. That's the beauty of emulation. You never had money for these things, but now you can do whatever you want. Fan-freaking-tastic. But once again, everybody, I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to stay in the know for all of your favorite retro handhelds and front ends. And a special thanks to those patrons, members, and subs for everything you do to support us around here. We can't thank you enough. Perks with RH start for as little as $3 per month. Join us in our Discord to chat and play games, and join us on the very next episode of the RH podcast live, which we're going to be doing this coming Monday. I don't know when this episode's coming out, so maybe it was yesterday for you.
It still applies. This coming Monday will still apply.
It's always going to be this coming Monday.
Yeah.
As far as upcoming guests, we have Monto Tech coming up on the show for our offline series. That should be fun. Up and comer on the YouTube scene. And we'll be following up with you all very shortly. But until then, this has been Stubbs on behalf of Franco and Rob saying, take care of those handhelds, everybody. And each other.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.